Hello and welcome to Drunk on Tea. Today I'm going to show you how I quickly painted this Necron warrior. So to start off with, I've primed him with black spray. Now make sure you catch everything at this step, as we are going to use this prime as a big part of our painting process. First I'm coming in with some Runefang steel and using a big dry brush, I'm going to dry brush all over the model. Try and do this in a downward motion, so you leave that black base coat showing in the recesses. This will give us our highlights and shade all in one step. So work your way around, dry brushing all of the model, catching all of the raised details with Runefang steel. So as you can see, that's put it on most of the raised details now. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some Skeleton Horde contrast paint, and I'm going to paint this on all the sort of armour panels and details. So things like his skull, here's sort of this ribcage area here, and the armour panels that are on his arms and his legs, and those shoulder blade guards as well. Catch all of that with some Skeleton Horde. So because of the dry brush we've got underneath being so bright, that will show through with this contrast paint and give us that sort of bronzy, rusty look that we're going for. So this is why it was important to prime everything black, because we're not going to be doing much shading on this model. We're going to let that initial dry brush do a lot of the work for us, and this contrast paint is going to do its job, sink into the recesses, stain everything else, but let that silver show through. And once it's dried, you can see it's given a really good look to that model. Really quick and easy way to get definition to a Necron. So now I'm coming in with some white scar, and for this, using a small dry brush, I'm going to dry brush the blade to the weapon to brighten that up. And I'm also dry brushing these coils we've got here. With a paintbrush, I'm going to paint these details here in the gun. So you catch the raised areas and the recess around it. And I'm also going to paint the raised part of his eye as well. So catch all of this with a base coat of white scar. And once that's done, it should look something like this. So the dry brush blade, and then a more solid coat on the weapon and the eyes. And now I'm coming in with some Warp Lightning contrast paint, and I'm applying this all over everything we just painted white. So on the blade, that will help give this a nice transition from dark up to sort of green. And for the eyes and those weapon parts, it will give them a really nice glowing effect. So this is a really quick way to paint through a Necron army. If you've got to get through several models in a weekend or a week, this will allow you to get them onto the tabletop really quickly. So I've managed to paint up a squad of Necrons, 10 models, in about an hour using this method. So with that applied, you can see the effect it's giving. And now I'm coming in with some Ogryn camo, and I'm going to dry brush this up the blade. So just try and catch the most raised sort of edges of it, and this will help add to a transition and give that glowy effect. You can also run it over those coils in the middle of the gun as well, and over the glowing part in the middle as well. Doesn't matter if you catch the edges slightly, it will add like a highlight as well. And with that done, there's just one more step to go on the blade, and that's I'm coming in with some white scar, and I'm going to add some scratchy kind of highlights here on the edge of the blade. You don't need to be too neat, it's not a perfect edge highlight, it's just to add a bit of definition and to make it look white hot on some of the most pronounced and raised details. Just put a little spot of white scar sporadically on the edge of that blade. And that's that painted up, and it gives it a nice glowing effect really quickly and easily. So next I'm coming in with some Black Templar contrast paint. And for this, I'm going to paint any of these sort of jointy moving parts that are on the model. So just pick out some parts you want and paint them with the Black Templar, along with these ridged cables here. And I also paint the casing of the gun as well. So just catch some of these details with Black Templar, just to add a bit more definition and variation to the model. And with that painted, we've really added some variation of tone to the model now.
If you're enjoying the video, please press like. If you want more videos, press the subscribe button and ring the notification bell.
So now I'm coming in with some Gryph-hound orange, and I'm going to paint any of the damage that's on the model. So this one here's got this sort of scratch on his head, and he's got these dents in his armour panelling as well. You can thin this Gryph-hound orange down with a tiny little bit of water, and it will weaken it down ever so slightly and look less stark on the model. And there you go. With that painted, you can see the battle damage is looking a bit rusty. And we're almost finished with the Necrons. So now I'm coming in with some MacLeod Flame. For this, I'm just painting any of the smooth cables that are on the Necron. So it's this one here hanging down from his gun. And he's got a couple on his chest as well. So catch those with a bit of MacLeod Flame to make them nice and bright. And that is most of the details painted. You can leave it here, or I'm coming in with some Retributor armour. I'm going to paint this symbol that's on his chest. Catching this with some Retributor armour just to make it stand out as a focal point on the model. And then I come in with a little bit of Agrax Earthshade. I'm just going to shade that bit we just painted to knock it down ever so slightly. And then there's just one final step to go, and that's to come in with some Stormhost Silver. I'm going to highlight that chest symbol by just catching the raised areas on it. I'm also going to add some battle damage scratches to parts of the model. So things like here around the legs and stuff like that, just add some little scratchy marks with the Stormhost Silver. It'll just act like chips or whatever and help sell that beaten up appearance of the Necron. And there we have it. There is a really quick and easy method to paint up a lot of Necrons really quickly. So you can paint a couple of these up in a couple of hours. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and happy painting.